All right, I'm not going to lie. Never in my wildest imagination did my 10-year-old self think that I would teach on Transformers at church. So I'm glad that you've been along for this ride. Hey, listen, as we looked at the movie Bumblebee, we saw the unlikely connection between a teenage girl and a Transformer. Both Charlie and Bumblebee experienced life-altering circumstances, and as a result of that, they both put their lives on hold. For Bumblebee, he's stuck in a scrapyard, replaying images of glory days past, and he's waiting for a reunion with his Autobot allies that may never come. And for Charlie, she's experienced the searing loss of a father that she loved dearly. And as we get to know these two characters, we see that they're stuck. And honestly, we can relate because the chances are that we've been stuck, or maybe we're stuck right now. Lots of stuff can get us to this point. I mean, you know this as well as anybody. Grief can get us stuck. We experience loss that feels like it's taken our breath away. Anxiety can make you stuck. I mean, you get consumed by the unknown. You wonder and you worry, and that cycle has you spinning your wheels. Shame can get you stuck. You've made a mistake so big that you're afraid of being exposed or confronting the elephant in the room. I don't know the specifics of your situation, but I do know that you're not alone. This habit of digging in our heels and giving up hope, it's not a new phenomenon. People have had the same response since the very beginning of time. I mean, Adam and Eve experienced shame when they disobeyed God, and their gut level response was to hide. Peter is one of Jesus' best friends. He experienced shame so deep that he almost abandoned following Jesus altogether. Now, if you're not familiar with his story, let me just give you a quick rundown. Peter met Jesus after a fishing trip gone wrong. He was busy cleaning out his empty nets because that's all he had. After a night of fishing, he caught nothing. And when you fish for a living, that's a bad day. And after he finished teaching, he tells Peter how to get the biggest catch of his career. And as Peter takes a chance and casts his net, his story of belief begins. Because that moment changes everything in Peter's story. That day, Peter leaves the fishing business, and for the next 3 years, he follows Jesus, becoming one of his right-hand men. His story moves from monotony to adventure. And in those 3 years, Peter experiences some unbelievable but undeniable moments. He witnesses Jesus feed 5,000 people with a bag lunch. He watches as Jesus makes the crippled walk and the blind see. And as far as I know, Peter is the only person other than Jesus to walk on water. And as quickly as his story began, things began to come undone. On the night before Jesus is arrested and crucified, he says, Peter, listen, by morning time, you'll deny that you even know me. Not once, not twice, but 3 times you will deny knowing me. And just as Jesus predicted, Peter watches his best friend be led away to die while he flees to save his skin. And as the words left his lips denying Jesus, shame filled his heart. Peter feels hopeless, like his world is over. He'd give anything for a second chance, but believes there is no going back. So he gets stuck. The next time we see Peter, he's back to fishing. He's given up on the world-changing business. Instead, he returns to what's familiar. And it's interesting that in our times of failure and regret, that's what we do too, right? We go back to the things that come most naturally to us. Peter would have likely spent the rest of his life stuck, rehearsing his failure over and over and over again. But then Jesus shows up. Jesus essentially recreates the scene the day that he met Peter on the beach. And he gives him a second chance that his heart longed for. And in a defining moment, Peter recommits his life to following Jesus and spends the rest of his life serving him. Through Peter's story, Jesus shows me that we don't need to stay stuck. We don't have to let our failure be our finale. So what do you do? What do you do when you find yourself feeling stuck? Do you retreat to what's comfortable? Do you isolate yourself? Please, man, just please, I beg you, don't settle for stuck. Don't allow your past mistakes to rob you of an incredible future. God doesn't want your failure to be your finale. Jesus is relentless in his love of you and how he pursues you to forgive you. Jesus knows that you will fail, and he will be there on the other side of that failure because he is faithful, even to those who are unfaithful. Like Bumblebee, Charlie, and Peter, you can choose to move forward. You can decide to get unstuck and step into the opportunities that God has prepared uniquely for you, regardless of your past.